This review is presented by EVDANCE and The Perfect Glass. Sometimes when you're a little extra thrilled about a car that has been released that is a bit of your taste, which you like a little extra, well, you might do some reading about it, and you might also stumble about some reviews of other people that has already tested it when it has been launched somewhere. And then they might just discuss some things that you think is, oh, that's pretty negative. Is that how I'm going to feel with this one? Is that a pity? And sometimes you might make up your mind even though you don't really want it. I never do that. I always want to take the car for a ride in the way that I want to drive it. And I also think that every specific car needs to be driven in a specific way. I think that is a very important factor as a driver, knowing that and also respecting it for what it really is. But when it comes to high performance cars, well, then they really need to deliver, and they always need to get better and better to satisfy the customers that expect so much of them. And when it comes to sports cars, you don't really want something that is heavy, that makes it rather difficult to drive. You always want something that is lighter, that is even more sharp, and for some makes it even easier to drive. But sometimes that might be the opposite, but at the same time, mechanical grip, old technologies might make it even easier to drive. And this one is one of these cars that I've been waiting for to drive. The new BMW M5. This is the G99. G90 is the sedan. G99 is the touring or the estate version. And something that I like, and I think that they wanted to do with this one, is that it flirts with the design of the E61, the one that came in a sedan version and a touring version, and that gave us that beautiful V10 engine. When that was released, everyone was just stunned, and still, you get stunned when you hear that engine. It feels a bit more neat when behind the steering wheel, but at the same time, it feels very, very big, and it is a big car. You can't get away from that. The touring model weighs 40 kilos more than the sedan. Would I choose a sedan? I always love a sedan because I just think it looks classic. Buying a sedan is cool in my world, but a touring car, it looks good. This one looks just good. Put it into hybrid and it just works as a hybrid. The combined consumption is about 1.4 liters. Driving in comfort mode like this and 100 kilometers an hour on the motorway, it's very well stuffed. It's a quiet autobahn or a highway cruiser or a cruiser for the country roads as well. It is comfortable. You can feel that there is some firmness to it, but you bought into an M car. What else do you expect? You can expect just super comfort, and then all of a sudden it to be very, very hard. I just think it's okay. I mean, the weight of this car, it is what it is. You get low center of gravity, and all this trickery of the systems and the rear axle steering that it's got, well, it does very much for these type of kilos, and you need that. You can feel that the power is always there. Even so, when you drive an electric, you got plenty of power. You can drive all the way up to 140 kilometers an hour, and just doing a kickdown, well, then it comes alive a lot more power. So 585 horsepower from the 4.4 liter engine. I mean, it's always there when you do a kickdown, which is great, but you want that combined power, of course, when you really thrash it. And then you get 727 horsepower. Now that is serious. 1,000 Newton meters of torque. It becomes a real rocket. You can't get away from the fact that BMW always tickles you with that rear wheel biased feel. So even though it is four-wheel drive, you get that sense of, you know, a little more tail happiness. And of course, in two-wheel drive, it becomes tail happy deluxe, especially in this one with all this power. And this extreme instant feel from that electric engine that it is provided with here, it makes it just a complete different animal. And just like in the new Porsche 911 GTS, this T-hybrid system is just so quick. And you can feel it here. It's present all the time. There is no lag whatsoever. So this is a pretty serious combination, this. EVDANCE is your #1 go-to online store for EV chargers. Now you can get the one that suits you best at 20% discount when using the code EVDCAR. Check out the links in the video description. There was something when this was released, but it has grown very, very strong on me, the design of this one, in the Marina Bay Blue, which just looks brilliant. It is rather docile, it is rather discreet in some way. Sure, you can see that it has a very, very hungry face, big intakes in the front, you got the diffuser at the back, the wheel arches are a lot wider, there's some sills here and there, you got the carbon fiber side mirrors, the big 20-inch rims, which goes really good to this one in black. And it doesn't have that many emblems. The only real thing is that when you look for the emblem in the front, the M5 badge there, and the M5 badge at the rear, and of course the 4 tailpipes, that's what makes it so significant of being an M5. Apart from that, it's extremely clean, it's extremely good looking, it is very, very elegant, and I think, because I always think that a sedan always looks better, but in this one, I think that the estate one looks a lot better. Turned on this one again, the LED light that runs across the big grille and is still big. They don't talk about that grille that much anymore, people. And I just think that BMW, doesn't matter how big that grille is, let it just be big. I think it also looks rather good with this plastic here. And then you got all the systems in here that reads out the road. You got augmented reality, you can see in the dark and all of that. And look in here, it's almost like you can put some stuff in there, it's that big. So it gets a lot of cooling, and you need a lot of cooling because this car has serious power. You got the 4.4 liter V8 engine. They've also took away some parts, some plastic parts and bits from the isolation on that engine. So it sounds a bit more from the outside, and thank you for that. We want to hear that V8. But at the same time, you got the M sound inside, so it plays out a bit stronger. But together with this one, and together with the stronger exhaust note as well, when you have that M sound activated. So that engine gives a lot of power, 587 horsepower. Then you got an electric motor as well, 18 kilowatt hours, producing almost 200 horsepower. So the total output effect in horsepower in this one is 727 horsepower. And you got 1,000 Newton meters of torque. And that does a lot for the start, for the reactions, not being laggy in any way. And that is something that I really, really love. But then getting on to the weight. Well, this weighs about 40 to 50 kilos more than the sedan version. But still, that is something that I think you won't really notice. And the total weight for this one is 2,550 kilos. Well, that is 80% fuel in the tank and a driver which weighs 75 kilos. But I just hope that it'll mask it correctly with the systems that it's got, because it's got the MX Drive system, and that is something that puts another layer of fun on a car like this, because you can set that into four-wheel drive sport, and also into two-wheel drive, which is just BMW M or BMW straight through. Because last time I drove the M4 competition, I just drove that one in two-wheel drive. I thought that that was just the thing about that car, and it makes it a completely different car from a four-wheel driven one. But I mean, four-wheel drive, two-wheel drive, in the winter, four-wheel drive, perfect. Four-wheel drive sport, you get a bit more rear-wheel biased feel, but with a lot of grip. And then you can just go crazy with a two-wheel drive. And that will also be a bit more challenging. But that's the thing about the M cars. They should be crazy when you want them to be crazy. Not long ago, I drove the Audi RS6 Performance, which I completely loved. The steering feel, the sound, the way it really masked all that weight, because that's a heavy car as well. And just how that rear wheel steering did its job. Felt like a little GTI car. This has also got active rear steering. Still a very practical, good long-distance tourer, and also a very good car from day to day. You can drive on pure electric for almost up to 70 kilometers. You can charge it with 11 kilowatts, so that's good. You can do your daily commutes. So it becomes a very all-round car, and the tax costs for it, well, that gets lowered a bit. 500 liters of boot space. You got the towing hook as well. We got the M driver's package on this one, so the top speed is also raised up to 305 kilometers an hour. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour is done in 3.6 seconds, 3.5 seconds for the sedan version. So it's not as quick as the Audi RS6 Performance, but this picks up speed after that in a very, very aggressive way. All right, let's get into some M-Pace. Let's try out the four-wheel drive Sport here first. So we get into M mode, and let's try out the launch control. Launch control, boost up, maximum power. Well, wow, it's very quick. But my gosh, it was comfortable. You just get soaked into the seat and you can see the speed as it races, but not in a very, very dramatic way. Just very good, effective grip. And it just lunges you away. So 0 to 100 kilometers an hour is done in 3.6 seconds. The Saloon does it in 3.5. Not that much of a difference, you won't notice that, but a much more down-towed and subtle, docile type of launch control in some way. Like it. It suits this big, more elegant estate car in some way. Huh? And that's the thing, you need to get into the two-wheel drive mode to make it a bit more crazy. But of course, four-wheel drive Sport, well, that delivers so much more grip and control that you still, well, you're able to slide it as you want. And the shifts, of course, this 8-speed automatic gearbox, it is quick. Ceramic brakes on this one, which are strong. You need to get some temperature into them. When you step on them, well, you can feel that you are carrying a lot of weight, so you might need these ones when you drive actively, especially on track. And you can feel that when you're in Sport. This gearbox also gives you this feel of just punching you. So the feeling of being a bit more racy, well, it's there. And my God, it is quick, this one. So very important to know where to brake, because when you start to swing it a little, you can feel that it is heavy, but it's got a lot of mechanical grip. It's a serious fast car, this one. It's like driving. It's very hard to describe it. It feels very agile at the same time that you feel that you're carrying a lot of weight and you are driving a very, very big car. You need to be just careful, especially when carrying that much speed into the corners. It is just lined up so well with its brothers and its sisters in that way. You feel that you sit in an M car. So if you have driven a lot of different M cars of the modern era, then you feel rather at home. The steering might be a little light in its sport setting, but the cool thing is that you don't need to drive at such low gears. You can just let the momentum work, because this electric engine together with this big V8 does a fantastic job. And you sit so perfect in these seats. I've put the bolsters so they wrap around a bit more. Still gives you that great sound. You get these lights that flickers about as you reach the rev limiter. So composed as well. When you get on the brakes, the whole body control of the car is there. It's not like it's getting squirmish or anything like that. Full control. Really, really good. And that extra momentum from the electric motor, well, it just keeps on. There is not a loss of breath or anything. Get rid of all dirt, grime, asphalt particles, and petroleum-based stuff that has got stuck to your car during the winter. The Perfect Gloss Hyper Degreaser does that job for you instantly. Use the code WCWT to get a discount. I really like the handles, very easy. There is no pretentious design on them or anything. When you get in here, well, it lights up this LED ramp all around here with these 3 BMW colors, that light blue, and that red. And also when you push the boost on one of these paddle shifters here, it also starts to flicker and light about, so you know that you got a lot of boost and that 1,000 Newton meters of torque is at your disposal. Otherwise, the design in here is really, really good. This is some type of plastic here on the panel. Apart from that, everything is sturdy, nice, and just oozes of quality, I think. Nice stitching all around. You got this bi-tone colored sporty seats, which are really sporty, but at the same time, really, really comfortable. You can set them in so many ways. You can push up the bolsters, and they squeezes you into place when you are getting into that active driving style. You got the Alcantara dressed pillars and roof, big panoramic roof that stretches all the way back. And here you're rather familiar of the look, but I like this one here. Sure, you got some of that piano polished looking plastics here, but it frees up a lot of space. And also the gear knob, well, it's integrated very, very neatly in here. So you just push it forward, backward. Yeah, now it starts, yeah, you get into the gear that you want. Park for park, and that's that. You got 2 induction chargers. Good storage down here. Very nice armrest. This curved, nice big display with, the graphics are just so sharp. Love it. And of course, it is quick to maneuver about. So it's the same system as in the M4 competition and the latest BMW products. Swipe through and you get into all the systems. Connect your phone, get into climate control, get into the menu of many of the different apps. A little clutter in here, so it takes a little time to get into it. But when you've just dug through it, then you know where everything is. So much tech, so much to fiddle about with if you like that. This knob here, I like that one. Very delicate. The volume for the stereo, well, very nice to maneuver, but you need to squall it quite much to increase or decrease the volume. And the thing is that there's a lot of modes to be set in this car. You can get into M Hybrid, and here you got E-Control, so you can monitor how the drivetrain gets heated. The normal drivetrain, the electric drivetrain, and how it reaches from 0 up to 100%, so you know when you can start to push it. Then you can force it into electric, that is really good. Drive it on hybrid. Then you got Dynamic and Dynamic Plus, and that just makes it more dynamic, more powerful, where this hybrid drive focuses on maximum performance for shorter trips. Dynamic is for a little more longer trips, and hybrid is, yeah, to maintain the best fuel consumption. You can get into setup, and of course, here you got your M1 configuration and M2 configuration, and these are the buttons on the steering wheel, and that is something that I really love. The M mode, then you got road, sport, and track, and in road, all the safety systems are on, and you're in comfort mode. Well, everything is just practical and comfortable. Then you can get into sport, and of course everything gets stiffened up, and then you can get into track. You need to be stationary to get into track, and yeah, you should drive track on a track, because that's where it firms it up. But let's try that out as well. Then you get into setup, and here you can do a lot of settings, of course, in usual BMW M manner nowadays. So you can set the drivetrain, comfort, sport, sport plus. Then you can get the region from min to mid to max. So 3 different steps there. And I think that in max region works really well. So it gives a lot of power back into the battery. And then also the chassis, the steering, the brakes, and the MX drive, the most interesting. 4-wheel drive sports, and then 2-wheel drive. And then you have the M sound. And the M sound, well, it's not just from the outside and makes the engine a bit more aggressive. The sound of the exhaust pipes a bit more fruity, but also in here. Driving position is just great, and it feels very BMW in an elegant way, strong way. Everything is thick, bulky, strong, and sturdy, but with quality of a very, very high level. You see well out, you sit low. Got the Bowers & Wilkins sound system as well. Looks a little plastic down here. This one looks rather good. The speaker grill at the back in the back seat looks a lot better. This one is a little plastic, but it sounds, of course, fantastic. So it's a big, strong, and airy car. And you might be a little bit intimidated in the beginning of, ooh, how I'm gonna manage this one with all this power if I want to drive active. Can I even manage it? But when you start driving, it becomes a little more shrunken around you. And that is something that BMW is very, very good at doing. It just invites you into this BMW feeling of being very driver-focused. And driver-focused, well, this is something that is driver-focused. This steering wheel feels very, very racy. It doesn't feel that circular shape, really. It's almost like it's a bit straight in the sides. Very racy, cut off down here, but thick as usual. Almost like it's pushing you backwards with its strong appeal. But I just love it. Long paddle shifters, really good. A little plastic. They could have had a little better click to them. The buttons on the steering wheel are just fine enough. Maybe not that distinct. They are a little soft in their feedback and that click, but it works. So comfortable for the long cruises, racy and comfortable when driving really, really hard. Check out the back seat. Back here, you sit well. Good armrest, 2 cup holders, USB-C, and you got this little digital climate control system down here. Here you can put some accessories if you want to put in a little screen or something. You got the USB-C here. The seats are just good to look at. The front seats, a little hole which you can look through, becomes a little more racy. But this big panoramic roof from the back here is very, very generous. And it feels very airy. The seats are a bit straight up, but still very soft. You can put your feet under the front seat. Not that well now because I'm sitting in the lowest position. Got pretty big boots on at the moment. You got the seat belts all around, which has this blue-red color. You got some blinds here and a little hook. Yeah, not that much more to say back here then. It's just a generous, good place in this big estate car. Starting price for this car is 1,615,000 Swedish crowns. So what is that? About 150,000 euros. And we got a little extra option on this one for about 270,000 Swedish crowns, about 25,000 euros. And some of that is the electric towing hook, ultimate package, ceramic brakes, M carbon fiber mirrors, panoramic roof, active seating ventilation, travel and comfort system, driving assistant professional, parking assistant professional, M Alcantara roof, and the M drivers package, which locks up the speed from that restricted 250 kilometers an hour all the way up to 305 kilometers an hour. So the total price for this Marina Bay Blue BMW M5 Touring is 1,885,700 Swedish crowns. In euros, about 170,000. Even on these small roads, just like the RS6 Performance, it transforms itself into a smaller GTI car. It's a rather wicked thing knowing that you are carrying over 2.5 tons. And it can just balance itself like this. Very, very impressive. And that's the challenge that I love with a car. Knowing that you have this weight, learning how to drive it, that's the best thing about it. You can be very effective when you learn your car, whatever it is. But on these small, tight roads, you need to be sharp and focused because it is extremely fast, this one. You got all the torque at your disposal all the time. It's endless and it just wants to pull your way faster and faster and faster. It's like it's not settling down, just like a plane in some way. There is something also when you're on the move and you're in the wrong gear, or if you just short shift, that electric extra power and boost, well, it just pushes you out of that corner, slingshots you away. And the special thing that it's got this M presence about it, something that you just grow into and something that you just love. It is fantastic. And if I compare it because I think you should compare it to the RS6 Performance. Quality-wise, these two cars, well, they are on top. Love the quality in the RS6, love the quality in here. I think that this quality has a bit more, I don't know how to say it, but it feels a little more alive. Maybe it's just that sometimes I just like BMWs when it comes in the M form. It is a bit more alive in its aura, in its personality, and especially, of course, when you get into two-wheel drive, then it becomes a different car. And just knowing that makes it a little more cheeky, a little more on edge, and you become a little more on edge. And of course, that raises the adrenaline a bit more. So it's a little more fun than the RS6. But they are on top when it comes to these real family estate or touring performance cars. But there is something extra with this one after you've been driving it for a little while. That cheekiness of that oversteer, love it. It is a lot more understeer in the RS6. You need to push that a lot more to get it a bit more wild. And when you hold this pedal for a second or two, you get the boost. But still, it's not that dramatic. I would like some more drama in it. That's the thing. Still, the drama is there with this oversteer character that it's got. The brakes are there. They're so very delicate. You can have any pressure point on the brake pedal and it will react instantly. Throttle, just the same. Steering, just the same. Maybe a little, I don't know, artificial in its electronic way, but still, it is very, very direct. So you have full control. That is nothing that I'm gonna whine about because it is really, really good. And the feeling and the feedback that this thick, racy steering wheel gives me, it's just magnificent. This new M5 Touring or Sedan, it boosts up the power so much and it boosts up me that much that I'm getting totally accelerated by it. I just know that, yep, this car, I need to brake there and there, and I need to steer here and there, depending on the situation and how the road or track is laid out. So the two-wheel drive mode with all systems off in its raciest setting, well, it puts on another layer to this car of excitement, and that also makes it stand out a bit more. Well, you spin off in almost every type of speed with it, so you really need to be cautious. You can become such a good driver on so many levels, and then all of a sudden you train yourself into becoming a seriously good driver if you drive it on track and know the way, know where the braking points are, and everything in between, because it delivers so many type of settings. In the beginning you might feel like, oh, it's a bag full of systems. Isn't that a little ridiculous? But in a car like this, it isn't. You can set that specific type of level and how you want this car to perform. So it really satisfies all type of drivers. And that is one of the unique traits with this car. And for that, I love it.